Don't worry, it's coffee. Well, how's it going? Just make sure we're all set up here. Let me fix my camera a little bit. There we go. Hey guys. Late night, after hours. I don't like saying like, oh, we have a lot to talk about. This is going to be one of those, just some thoughts. I was going to make a video that kind of goes over some of the things I wanted to talk about, but I was like, nah, just go live. Why not, right? You know, we don't go live enough. If you're familiar with the channel, like if this is, you know, you returning, if you don't know, there are some new videos up. It's about 3, I think, from this past week, including the why I voted for Trump video, which was posted yesterday. Go over and check that out, guys. This is this is going to be here, let me let's set the mood a little bit here now. There we go. A little music doesn't hurt. First, just thanks for joining us. I'm sorry, it's been a day, and I think everyone knows why it's been a day. The election. I mean, look at the thumbnail. Sorry, I'm like still getting like kind of set up here. We do have a call-in link pinned in the chat, but you know, let me rip a little first. So if you call up, I'll see you in the back. I'll let you know and check you out, and come on up and join the discussion, because I really do want to hear. One of the reasons why I felt compelled, I guess you could say, to express myself on here is because of the reaction I'm seeing, and this goes for both sides. So in case you live under a rock in a cave on Mars, Donald Trump was elected the 47th president after already being the 45th. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Donald Trump, but he's quite a notorious character, and a lot of people are not happy about it. A lot of people are happy about it. Actually, according to the numbers, the overwhelming majority are happy about it. And it is definitely something that needs to be talked about. Let's see. Got some comments here. Kamala's concession speech was spot on. She's one classy, intelligent, and competent woman. I feel so sad. If those that voted for Trump think the past 4 years are bad, the next 4 will be way worse. Thank you for your input. I do want to definitely talk about it. As I said a moment ago, like I personally, like I did vote for Trump. I had my reasons. The video that I posted was just kind of like off the dome. I'm hoping to give a little more layers into it, and you personally might be maybe surprised by my reaction. I'm noticing that I am it's weird. It is really weird what's going on right now. But if you are now joining us, guys, thank you. Like the stream, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, you know, videos and stuff here and there. I've been posting a lot more. I am go check out my I'm an alcohol the sober video. That's what it is. The thumbnail says like I'm an alcoholic. Going on I kind of like I'm day 60. I'm about 2 months in. I'm gonna start just going by the months now. But coffee. But yeah, you know what? Let's see. Why would you vote for a racist, bigot, and traitor? That is interesting. That's interesting. That's a good response. I don't think that he's racist. I haven't really seen. Again, I keep hearing this. I keep being told this. We've all been told this for um, 7 years or so now, and I don't think so. But we are going to get into it. I have. Where's my legal pad? And I had some points I wanted to definitely go over, but I did want to pull up first and foremost the election results. All right. Here we go. Pull this up for you guys. I think it's appropriate. Emerald Venus, I will get back to your comment in a second. Check this out, kids. And you know, actually, real quick, because I just noticed the background. I'm not feeling. I was wearing the American flag hoodie, which you might have seen me wear during some live streams. I'm not feeling too patriotic, to be quite honest. So we're gonna go classic mode. You know, strictly classic mode. Oh well, it is after hours, so here we go. No, classic mode. So I voted for Donald Trump, and to be quite honest, I don't feel as I don't think it was a happy thing. I think it was a sad thing. In my case, I voted for the lesser of the two evils, and there are certain things that I just can't ignore. And from the looks of it, a lot of America couldn't ignore. Now, something that I have heard, that keeps coming up, and says, "You guys see that better?" Let me scroll it down a little bit. There we go. Want you guys to be able to see. Do you see? There we go. But like how, like, I don't think we understand. Like, so he's like the only Republican or second Republican to win the popular vote since like in 20 years, or like since 88, something like that. Like, that's insane. Like, do we not, like, I mean, you guys have seen the news, right? Like, everyone's watching the news. And again, you might be like, well, you voted for Trump. Like, why are you? I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of shocked. I didn't think I didn't think he would necessarily win. I knew it was close, but like, I didn't. That's the thing. I've been so disenfranchised by news media that like, even the polls and everything, like, I don't know, the math wasn't mathing. The comment. Sorry, but voting for wannabe dictator is the most ignorant thing any American could do. He does not care about anyone. But you'll learn it sooner or later. All right. Hey, you know what? Like, let's leave that up. Again, thanks for rocking out with us. But yeah, I didn't think he would. Like, what I did was, like, yesterday, I basically got myself, because obviously, like I said, I voted for him. So it's like, oh, that's what I believe he was the lesser of the two evils. And get this, doesn't mean that I think that Harris is necessarily, I don't know her. And that's the thing. I don't really know anything about her. And with all politicians, get this, they're all full of shit. To some degree, you have to be, to some degree, in order to do this, do what they do. But for me, I think I don't know her. I think she's just the face. There's so much that's like wrong with it. like a lot, like so much that's, and it's not about, and I think a lot of Americans made their decision based off of things they don't like instead of things that they're for. Or at least that's how I was thinking. I think this time, I think the math shows that it's just not the case. Obviously, the Democratic Party has they are grossly out of touch, which is something that people have discussed. People my day, like in my real life, have discussed. I've seen them kind of hinting at it at the news, independent media. It's been kind of staring us in the face, while at the same time, in the mainstream, you kind of just it was like everyone was kind of ignoring it almost. Like it like very, like, I again, out of touch isn't, and this is the proof. I did not think, like, last night I wrapped my mind around, I was at work, and there's TVs at work, so like I see, like, I'm looking at, and we had like each major news network on. We had MSNBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, CNN. All of them were on like each of the different TVs. And just looking at, because they have like the tickers, and you see all the different numbers, and it just was not. I didn't think it would happen like this. He got all the swing states, guys. All of them. This is big for a Republican candidate, but if you saw, I think I've said this in the last few streams I did in regards to the election, or there was the debate, or the other Harris one. The video I put up yesterday. They all, I've said, like, it. Trying to find the words. 1 second. Let me. I sneezed. 1 second. I don't want to smoke on camera. Not that I care. This ain't the UK. It's like, okay. Let's start with, I want to start with something. I want to show you guys something. Okay, my bad. Okay, I'm back. Anyway. Let's check some of these out with you guys. It's a little compilation I found. Thanks for rocking out with us, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Anyway. Make sure the volume's up. All right.
Now that we're all saying what we're thinking, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think if you voted for Donald Trump, you're ugly. I think you're all freaking ugly, and I think you're dumb as bricks. And I think you're a bigot in every sense of the word, every use of the word. I also not only won't care when all the bad stuff that's gonna happen happens to you, I actually want it to happen to you.
I am so
Okay.
frustrated.
Oh, okay. Wait. Did you guys hear that? I'm gonna replay that again because I wanna break down each thing that she kind of said. I mean, it's a brief little clip, but here we go.
Now that we're all saying what we're thinking, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think if you voted for Donald Trump, you're ugly. I think you're all freaking ugly, and I think you're dumb as bricks. And I think you're a bigot in every sense of the word, every use of the word. I also not only won't care when all the bad stuff that's gonna happen happens to you, I actually want it to happen to you.
This is why I'm like, what the hell? Now we're gonna watch some more of these, but I've seen not just like little TikToks or shorts or anything like that or videos. Post. You go on X, you go on Facebook. People who I know, people who I don't know, like this young lady, or the people that we'll see. What? Okay. Gloves off, guys. I voted for Donald Trump because I believe that the current government establishment is insanely corrupt. Now, that will be met with, oh, well, Donald Trump is the corrupt one. He's a racist. He's a fascist. He's a bigot. All these things. These are all things that the news has said. And to be quite frank, at least from my experience, right? See where I'm coming from, right? Every single time I go and double check for myself something that was said that he said, or something that was said that he believes, or something that he's going to do, it's always not the case. Every single time. He was already president for 4 years. For 4 years, he was already president. And to be quite frank, in those 4 years, the economy was better. Unemployment was down. There were no wars, at least that we were, involved in. And every time this is mentioned, get this. So for the longest time, like the whole election cycle, I kept hearing like, oh no, everything was terrible under Trump. He messed up everything. It's been 4 years. It has been 4 years. He hasn't been in power for 4 years, and things have gotten worse. Now, in regards to COVID, I think him and Biden are owed some grace, because that's like that's a screwed situation, regardless. The COVID would have been bad for any president. Now, we did hear Obama say that apparently they had already foreseen the possibility of a pandemic and had came up with a plan. Trump negated that plan. Apparently, that's what apparently happened. So COVID was worse than it could have been, but because of Trump, it was worse. And Biden had to clean up the mess. When you look at it, that's just not the situation. We're blaming him for COVID. We're blaming him for inflation. We're blaming him. He's been blamed for the border crisis, right? Because they said that he messed up the border and we have an influx of immigrants because he wanted something to run on for his comeback, this political comeback, right? If that's the case, why wasn't something done? Something couldn't have been done about this in the past 4 years. If you knew that, and you saw that it was a problem then, why wasn't anything done about it up until now when it's like a serious issue? The Biden-Harris administration are the ones that are the reason why we have the crazy influx of migrants. And like each time these things have been, like all the issues, each time that they're brought up, it somehow cycles back to being Trump's fault every single time. Every single time. And then sometimes it'll or they'll just flat out deny it. Or it's been like flat out denied, and then once it gets too big to be unnoticeable, then all of a sudden. And sometimes they'll keep the media, like the news, will keep with the lies. I have never paid as much attention to politics than I have in the past almost 10 years. 2020 was really the tipping point because I didn't necessarily care. I remember when Trump got in the office in 2016 and everyone was freaking out about it. Again, I wasn't politically savvy. I didn't know what was going on. But I'll tell you this, for the most part, all I could go by was people around me were talking about it. So I was under the impression that they were more informed than me, which one could argue they were. I'm going by off of what they're telling me. And then the little bit that I see in passing on the news, the few times I would look at the news. One second, I'm looking at the comments here. I think his big mistake was running out of question. That is one perspective. I'll get back to that in a second. Grace Gray, I so agree with you. My question is, but why? Which part do you agree with? Let me know. Anyway. In 2016. So like I would see things in passing in news, and sometimes I would hear these stories and I'd be like, yo, that's freaking crazy. And there came a point where, again, I'd be lying if I said I was terribly concerned, but I was like, oh my goodness, the president, these things are happening. These things are being said. That's crazy. And you could sense the hatred for this man in the air, you know? I didn't know much, so like I was kind of indifferent, but there was a moment where I got a little concerned, and I was like, oh, I should probably start paying more attention. And then the thing in Charlottesville happened, right? And I saw the CNN story on that, and I was like, yo, that's freaking crazy. I forget when that happened, right? But I was like, yo, that's nuts. That the president said something like that. You know, find people on both sides thing. In 2020, James O'Keefe released a story about CNN and how basically they were lying about the COVID numbers and stuff, like all kinds of things about COVID, Black Lives Matter. And they got some of their execs on camera stating how, you know, they highlight those things in order to get ratings and views because those things are hot right now. And then how they'll censor other stories because it goes against narratives that they've already pushed. One example being when there was the rise in Asian hate crimes. You know, it was brought up, but then they quickly stopped talking about it because it turns out that most of the hatred, I guess, or bad negative things being targeted at Asians were perpetuated by Black Americans. And they stopped running it because they said that contradicted the Black Lives Matter things that they were currently in, you know, pushing and stuff and reporting on. So the James O'Keefe story right there got me like, whoa, wow, the news will lie? Like, to what extent? So I start looking into more things on CNN specifically. And then that's when the Charlottesville thing came back up. And I remember seeing that news report. And I watched the news report again. Then, just easy to find was the full press conference of when Trump is, quote, saying that there were fine people on both sides at this Nazi thing, right? He was not saying that there were fine people, like the Nazis were fine people. If anything, he doubled down and stated that he specifically was not saying that he was not talking about the Nazis. There was a protest for the removal of a statue. Some of the people who were there were protesting to keep the statue. Others were protesting to tear down the statue. That was the group that he was saying there were fine people on both sides. People that were protesting, keeping it up, and people that were protesting, keeping it down. The Nazi group arrived. He was not talking about that. And he said that they should be condemned. He said all white supremacists should be condemned. And I see your comments. One second. I'll get to that in a second. Also, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, I have the call-in link pinned in the chat. So, like, if you want to come up and we can rap about some of these things, you don't have to cam up, but I will need to just confirm, make sure you're not on some BS. But I can see you, backstage, but you don't have to cam up. You could just be audio if you want. Because I'd love to, it's easier in real time. I gotta keep looking. I'm looking at the comments, but I gotta keep going back there. It's a pain in the ass. But what was I saying? Yeah, so the Charlottesville thing. So I saw that, and I was shocked, to say the least. I could not believe that that kind of thing, like that CNN of all places, like this was like CNN's supposed to be like the moderate, like you're getting the news, you're getting the skinny, you're getting the real information. And that just was not the case. They flat out lied. And then turns out they lied about a bunch of things. And this was during the election in 2020 when I really started paying attention to things. And I went back and looked over the past 4 years. And to be quite honest, now, Donald Trump was a bad president for the United States culturally, especially during his first term. On paper, though, things weren't bad. They just objectively weren't. Let's see these comments. Yeah, so Trump's a felon, right? That's another argument that comes up from time to time. How could the American people elect or allow a convicted felon to run for president? Now, if you do something wrong, no matter what, it should be condemned, especially if you hold a seat in office, especially the highest seat in the office. Like you're the commander in chief. You shouldn't be a convicted felon. Like especially if you pay a crime, like you should uphold the law to the highest degree. You're supposed to be the example and the leader, right? How does that happen? How does a convicted felon, like, why would people vote for someone who's a convicted felon? There's a few things with that. I think that the news, the constant political attacks, and that's what they are, objectively. Political attacks. The constant political attacks, the constant attack in the media, the defamation of character, like the constant, nonstop defamation of character when it comes to Donald Trump, I think people got desensitized to it. Now, Trump's a horrible person, though, right? So that shouldn't matter. He's a fascist. What if I were to tell you that there's just not a lot of evidence for these things? There just objectively isn't. Almost every single thing. And like when I'm talking to people, and again, this doesn't mean that like you love Trump. Like Trump did not win. He did not win in this way due to his character. By no means. Clearly, there was a difference this time around from the last time around. He's broken. This election just broke some records. You feel me? We've never seen anything like this. A shift like this. And contrary to popular belief, guys, president or not, we've been under a lot of Democrat rule for a long time. And it seems like every single time the Democrats have something to do with something, it's just not good. And the only thing that's ever brought up are this morality question. Now, morals are important. And as Americans, we hold them up, right? Because again, we care about justice so much. The DOJ cares about justice. The president can't just do what he wants to do, break the law and get away with it. He can't hold office. That's insane. Why would we let a convicted felon run for president, be our president? A convicted felon, a rapist. Yes. All these things, guys. Now, Trump was found guilty on these things. Most of them. And there have been some recent developments on that as well. Why don't people care? Here's the skinny. I hate to break it to you, and I think we all know this. All of our leaders have probably definitely broken the law. And it's not just about assuming, like, some things we flat out know. Things that could lead to jail time. A lot of things that people are like, oh, Trump shouldn't hold office because of this, that, and the third. We have seen these very same qualities in our past leaders and some of our current leaders. Sometimes bluntly right in our faces. That laptop business. Zuckerberg came out and said that he was told to censor information about the virus and about the Hunter Biden laptop story. And no one cares. No one cares. Something that especially just from a surface level look, it could be considered maybe treason, perhaps. But no one cares. You care so much about justice. Why aren't we talking about that? Because I think for a lot of people, the ends justify the means. And honestly, a lot of people have sipped the Kool-Aid. And I think the Democratic Party is severely out of touch. Why did you know who voted for Kamala Harris? College educated people. Now, there's nothing wrong with being college educated. No. That's a good thing. But it's the academic elite, all the celebrities. But then we're told that, oh, the Republicans and Donald Trump, it's just for him and his billionaire buddies. So why did the working class choose him? Why did everyday Americans, the overwhelming majority, pick him? And then when you look on the news, the past 24 hours has been insane. The denial, the excuses. Now, I'm not gonna lie. Past few hours, I'm starting to hear a little more sense. It's a lot of finger pointing. But they're pointing at all the right things, because there's a bunch of things which are the cause and result of what happened yesterday. A bunch of things. One of the big arguments I keep hearing is America just doesn't want a woman. It's sexist. Misogynistic. Blah. I actually do believe that a good chunk of Americans, probably males, some female. I mean, we see the numbers. We know who voted and how many voted for who. The only group that Trump did not make any progress with at all in comparison to past elections was college educated women. And I think that's just generally, not, races and wasn't in there. Just college educated women, period. That's the only group that he did not make any traction with, or any difference with. Why is this? Is it all misogyny? No, I don't think so. And you can see that from the campaign and the candidate. I feel bad for Kamala Harris. It didn't seem like she wanted to do it. People are saying it's because she's a woman. No one cared or liked Kamala Harris up until we were told to like her. There was a coup. They got Joe Biden out after telling us over and over and over that he was fine. And it was very apparent he was. Again, it's when once the lie gets too big and you can't run from it, then it's acted on. Then something is said. But even then, it's still not clear. It's not to the point. And they did get this. You care so much about preserving democracy. So you do that by doing the most undemocratic thing and not having a vote to pick a candidate. You just put her there. And then on the news, we have past leaders, people of influence, people people with influence. This goes from journalists, the news, President Obama, shaming people into picking her, saying if you don't pick her, you're racist or you're a misogynist. If he had someone up there with sauce, that might be the case. She did not have the sauce. She does not have the sauce. No one liked her up until we were told to like her. That's just the flat out truth. And the reason why, like, I went into election day, like, I think she's going to win is because, like, I think I also fed into the media hype. Even with all the information I knew, I could tell that, like, again, it's all BS. There's obviously a witch hunt. They don't like Donald Trump. The establishment does not like Donald Trump. What are all the Republicans that endorse Kamala Harris? The establishment, the Dems and the Republicans. Trump is not, he's not a normal human being. He is greatly flawed. He's a giant douche. No doubt. But this is not... She didn't have the sauce, guys. Period. Oh, man. See, Instagram, I hate streaming to Instagram because like almost never works. Here, 1 second. I'm gonna keep cooking. I'm gonna reset in there. If you're watching, guys, thank you for tuning in with us. We're gonna get back into that video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Set the Instagram stream back up again. There's like a time limit on it. So I have to like redo it. One second. I gotta like go over Instagram, copy everything. One moment. Also, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, we do have the call-in link. I would love to hear feedback, questions, thoughts on the election. Regardless of how you vote, I think this is going to definitely start a conversation. I definitely do think it's definitely oh man, it's going to be an interesting next few months. Next 4 years, all around. Let's put this here, and bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Actually, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the live for there. I'm gonna take a quick break, real quick. I'm gonna use the restroom, and then we'll come back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. All right. But I do want to, I'm about to get into that video. But again, guys, thanks for joining us. What do you think? Call into the show. That's whether you're if you're watching on Instagram. If you go to my bio, just go to the YouTube channel, and then in the live chat on YouTube is the call in link. That's if you'd like to join us. I'm like all over the place because like there's so much to say. So much to say, I know of it, but I am paying as close attention to the chat as I possibly can. So like, let me know. Gracie, I'm not able to get your StreamYard. You're not? Is the link not working? Here, I'm about to test it myself. I'm pretty sure I posted the right link. Is the link not working? Have you guys been trying to call in? Or are you telling me that? No. One second. I'm gonna test the link. It seems to be working on my end. Let me... Here. I'm going to post it again in the chat. Oh, wait. Gracie, I see you. Here. Can you do me a favor? Just because, for safety purposes, I could see you in the back. Can you just cam up for a second and, like, put up a peace sign or, like, just, like, wave real quick? You don't have to be on camera. If you, okay, avatar, that's good. And just for safety, here, I'm gonna bring you up. Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. First of all, where I live in the apartment complex, I have talked to many people that is for Democrats. And they constantly tell me about Trump and how he's a racist, and how he's filed bankruptcy, and just about everything that they could possibly know from hearing what they call hearsay. And I tried to explain to them to do a fact check on what they are trying to tell me about this man. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Is it that do they not go and fact check for themselves?
No, they're just going on what people has told them, but yet they want to sit there and tell me no.
Why do you think people won't fact check?
Because they want to believe what they've heard.
Why would they want to believe that?
I think because they're not educated enough, maybe, to do what they call a fact check. I don't know the reason.
I don't think that that they're not educated at all. Again, a lot of people that voted for the Democrats this time around were college educated, like the overwhelming majority college educated. Okay, you're right. I agree. I didn't think of that. However, I'm not. No, like first off, I already know what you're talking about. I'm being kind of facetious.
No,
in a way.
It's okay. It's okay.
Because they don't want it. They don't want it to be true.
Right. But these people that I talk to in the apartment complex that I live in is mostly a Democrat, and there's several that is a Trump fan, and they know the reasons for one to be a Trump fan, But yet the Democrats that are claiming to be Democrats can't explain why they are Democrats.
I think it's because of, like, if you look at, like, again, all the things they bring about Trump, it's moral things, which, you know, that makes sense. Why would we want someone immoral and bad to be
Yes.
president? But I think we Americans are a little, I think, disconnected from the rest of the world. And I think that in our strive to be as, for lack of a better word, as progressive as possible, we've regressed in a lot of ways. We start to deny reality, things in front of our face, and we realize that, like, sometimes doing things like I was saying earlier about, you know, a lot of people are saying now, like, oh, she wasn't voting because she's a woman. For some people, that very well may have been the case. I don't doubt that for a second. However, she wasn't a good candidate. And then if you say she wasn't a good candidate or she's unimpressive, it's like, oh, well, you wouldn't be saying that if she was a man. And it's like, well, get this. She just wasn't. It happened. And if you say she's a diversity hire, which that I very rarely have ever brought that up as a point. I've heard a lot of other people bring that up, like in anger, like, oh, people keep saying she's a diversity hire. How dare they say that? And it's like, well, no, she is, because we were flat out told that that's why. Biden specifically said that he was prioritizing picking a woman, and a woman of color at that. And when you look at her career,
she's not of color. She is from what I understand from fact check, she's part Indian.
Yeah, that
India,
counts as
India.
Of color. Like she's a woman of color.
Okay.
Notice I didn't say, because usually when people say like get the whole, again, even with her and her race thing, that's something that's not for me, that's not a big factor. I don't see, and like, I think the big problem is, like, when Trump said, he's like, oh, you know, she wasn't black a few years ago. He wasn't, that irritated me so much, because it was like, yo, I know what he's trying to say. And that's what a lot of people, so like, I'm black. And in the black community, a lot of people, some of them are actually on the whole thing like, oh, she's not literally black. I hate to break it to anyone, but according to her DNA, I haven't seen her DNA records, but like, this is just from fact checking. She is part, her dad's part Jamaican. So she's of Afro-Caribbean descent.
Oh, okay.
So quote unquote, yes, she's black. She's part black. So the fuck what? So what? And even
that's true. That's true.
When Trump mentioned
me, in my opinion, she was very weak.
She was a weak candidate, very weak candidate, and it showed in multiple ways, guys.
Right.
It's like, why are we saying the woman's weak? She just so happens to be. It wasn't because
she was a woman.
She just so happens to be a woman. She just is weak, guys. She was a weak candidate. She was a weak choice. Again, she's milquetoast. Yet everyone was told, like, oh, she's so cool. And then, like, I've seen, you know what? Like, that's a good segue. Here, want to watch something with me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. We watch that one. Let's keep going.
I am so frustrated!
That's not okay. This is not okay. This simply will not do. And this is not okay. And I'm not good with this. This is sick.
Beta!
I'm sorry. No!
Oh my gosh.
like, are we, like, guys, this is
laughable.
dramatic.
Yes, it is.
This is like,
very.
this is, I mean, it is funny. And I'm sure there would have been plenty, like, if Trump would have lost, I'm sure there would have been plenty of funny video TikToks and stuff like that of people really upset and making mountain out of a molehill. But at the same time, here's a thought experiment for those of you who were in favor of Trump. And like, when you see these, you're like, oh, this is ridiculous, because it is ridiculous. It is overreacting.
Yes.
Put yourself in their shoes, right? They are under the impression that their way of life as they know it is over. And notice so far, these have all been, I believe they're all women. I believe they all identify as women. You know, we want to be PC here, right? And they're they're really upset. So like if I was a woman who sipped the Kool-Aid and thought the news was telling the truth and everything that I heard in passing was the truth, I would be very scared too. I'm like, oh, Trump's gonna start tracking my period. I'm not gonna be able to have, you know, my bodily autonomy. My friends who are second, third generation immigrants are gonna get deported.
Yeah.
like these are he's gonna make himself a dictator. A lot of these people, not every single one, I'm sure, a lot of them do not know how things work. Never has he said that, yes, guys, there's going to be mass deportations. He said yesterday during his when he spoke in Florida, he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do mass deportations. He's like, look, we want people to come in. That helps the economy. The more the merrier. However, if you're gonna come here, you're gonna do it the correct way. And it's been stated over and over that priority number one, because a lot of people keep asking, like, oh, you're going to separate people from kids, you know, because, you know, a lot of people come here, they have kids, their kids are citizens, but they're not. I don't know how one handles that kind of situation without looking like an asshole. Let me just be honest. I think anyone in that situation would be the same thing. But, like, what would you have them to do? Now, that's not an excuse for, you know, the seemingly cruel action of separating, you know, families. But they've said that priority number one is to get rid of the criminals. That's number one. That's priority number one.
Exactly. That's that.
Across the other stuff, once you get to it, who knows? I mean, I doubt that the majority of the migrants are criminals. I think a good chunk probably are. But you handle that, then you look at where you're at, and you go from there. And that's literally like, what do you want them to do? And get this, guys, the same thing for like even Biden or like other presidents who maybe you weren't in favor of in the past. Some situations, like I said with COVID, I think both Biden and Trump should get kind of a pass when it comes to that, because it's like it's just a fuck situation.
I agree.
What do you want them to do, guys? Like, it's not always going to be perfect sunshine and rainbows. And another thing that I've noticed, a lot of the people that are upset, like you don't have it hard. Like the amount of like, woman, oh God.
This woman told me, well, he told us to drink alcohol, rubbing alcohol. And I'm like, where did you get that from? Well, that's what he said.
Did he say it? I could see him saying that, but not
the man can't speak. He just speaks his mind. That's his only problem as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, no, he's got way more problems than that.
Well, yeah, okay, he does. But he is not a very good speaker, as we all know.
I think he's a good speaker. He's not eloquent. Let's keep it a buck, guys. He's got the gift of gab. He's not eloquent. He's not presidential. And if anything, my biggest criticism, and I think that's just because of what I've grown up being used to. And I think overall it should be like that. Like, in my honest, humble opinion, guys, especially after I saw the VP debate, I'm like, yo, I want Vance. That's a presidential cat. And I think culturally it would have probably been better if Vance was the candidate. However, we are at a place now where Trump is not the hero that Gotham needs.
No.
He's the hero that Gotham deserves, right? This is going to change everything, guys. Nothing was the same. Nothing will be the same after this. And it could go in very bad ways. I've said on past streams leading up to this moment, no matter with the election, because almost everyone knew like Trump was going to be the candidate. At one point, it was looking like it might have been was it Kerry Lake or DeSantis as far as repping the Republicans, but we knew it was going to be Trump. And you can't I forget my point. But let's see some more of these.
I'm just so
Why?
What?
I am so my son is a veteran. 8 years as a veteran. And he said, Mom.
Thank you for your service.
He said, Mom, this man is not the best, but he knows how to run a country because he uses his own money. He uses
I think I know what you're trying to say, and that's a good.
Okay.
So
I mean, this is what we were talking about last night. I'm trying to remember everything, and I said, son, I understand what you're saying, but I can't repeat everything that you said. And he was telling it like it was, just like I sent him a fact check about Democrats. He says, Mom, that's what I was trying to tell you last night. And I said, I've been knowing this, but I didn't know how to explain it to you. And I couldn't believe the fact check that I did about George Soros that was married to this. His nephew was married to this person. And it come down to the very end to Camellia Harris was married to one of his nephews. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why doesn't people fact check the Democrats and what President Trump said or done? How come they don't fact check? And
again, people don't want to. They like. I guess you don't want certain things to be true. I think the same. I think that could be said about both sides. Darnell, I do see you in the back. I'm bringing you up. Boom, boom. How you doing? Hello, hello.
Hey, Spro, how you doing? And to the lady on the panel, I'm sorry I had to see your name there. Just wondering how everyone's doing.
I'm doing fine. I'm
Living
just
all
not
right.
explaining myself as well as I should.
No, you're doing fine. Darnell, real quick, how do you feel about the election results and everything? Thoughts?
Well, to be honest with you, I knew Trump was going to win. I didn't believe he was going to win by the margin that he did. I had it much closer, but I felt he was going to pull out a squeaker. But obviously, I think that this was a mandate that the people wanted change. I was expecting him to flip Pennsylvania. That was going to be the key. But the thing that I think is at least good this time is that this is the first time a Republican candidate has won the popular vote since 2004.
Exactly.
Which would says something interesting, especially it's like, again, it's like because you're seeing like look at this. Look at this.
Even up from the US, I do find it hilarious the most.
This is the reaction, right? Because in these people, again, these ladies are scared. They're like, oh no, everything's. But he won the popular vote. If he's so terrible, if he's all these things, why? How did he win? And not only how did he win, the way that he won.
Well, I can answer how he won.
Her. He destroyed her. I mean, yeah, please.
Yes, please.
So basically, if you pull up the vote totals, if you notice in 2020, Biden had 83 million votes. I'm rounding, 83 million. Kamala Harris, I don't even believe she broke 70 million. So it's clear that this was lower. This is lower voter turnout. I think Trump actually had fewer votes now than he did in 2020, just barely. So you could definitely say it was lower voter turnout. But I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is something that I think the Democrats seem to forget. But it's the economy, stupid. You know, they keep trying to shove down certain things. I'm not sure if I can say it on your channel because I'm not trying to, get your channel. But I think you understand a certain community. No, a certain. I mean, well, that
LGBTQ.
too.
Yes.
Oh,
like the LG. Okay, so that's that. So I've noticed that a lot of people like something that kept coming up was the black male vote, or And in my day-to-day, like in my real life, a lot of the black males, I get this, for everyone, the economy and the migrants is like the number 1 and 2 thing, right? For a lot of the black males I've talked to, a lot of them they feel like the Democratic Party represents a lot of the weird sexual identity politics being pushed on children. That's something that I kept hearing come up. Also, you know, probably Trump's one of his most successful ads, Pennsylvania, and I'm in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm in Philadelphia.
Wow.
So
Yeah, you know,
really interesting here.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I was actually monitoring your county throughout the election. I was monitoring your county. It's kind of weird. In some areas, she kept pace with Biden, and then in others, she just couldn't. I think Philly, she was I want to say about 4 points shy of where Biden was in 2020. So it was just kind of weird. But yeah, I was definitely monitoring Philadelphia County.
Well, a lot of the people here, that was a big thing, especially people with families. And guys, this isn't just like, here's why it's so weird. Trump, it's not that everyone jumped ship to the Republican Party. A lot of people did, right? Some of the people are still just some of them are still like registered Democrats, independents, libertarians. They voted for Trump anyway.
Yeah.
What does that say? What does that tell you? The Democrats had they've lost a lot of people. Their priorities are messed up. And what's crazy is it's like the constant criticism that they keep giving to their opposition are sins that they themselves are guilty of. So it's not guys, it's not just the point of, I hate whatabouts. Whatabouts are annoying. However, you can't, with this situation, you can't ignore it because it's very, very ironic. It's like they say Trump wants to be a dictator. He's a fascist. Yet they talk about censoring information and free speech. And again, it's like misinformation. How does one define misinformation? Because past examples have shown us it's just things that you don't like or things that you don't want people to start thinking about or to talk about. That's very fascist to me. Now, I am not making the claim that Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party are fascists, but those are fascist-like things. What has Donald and no one really gives me? They just say like, oh, he is racist, he is sexist, he's homophobic. Where's the homophobic thing coming from? Where's the racist thing coming
that
from?
I could not figure out.
I have no idea. Where are these things coming from?
If anything,
pointed to a source.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm pointed to a source of where they come from. It's never. There's always more to it. It's just never fully the case. You were saying.
To be honest with you, when it comes to a Republican, I can't see any other Republican that has been more pro LGBTQ than
that's because
Donald Trump.
I do not think that Donald Trump is necessarily. I think he's more of a Republican now, but he's like one of those old school 80s, early 90s.
But he didn't start out
New York
to be a
Democrats.
Republican. He did not start out.
He got in where he could fit in. The Democrats wouldn't let him in. And guys, here's the real
He had no choice. He had no choice but to become a Republican.
Yeah, and get this. Why don't as I was saying earlier, why don't a lot of Republicans like him? Because that's always brought up too. Like, oh, his own party don't like him. People that are in his cabinet don't like him. Here's the reason why, and it's not just Donald Trump. It's Elon Musk as well, and not just because of their union. It's because Elon Musk bought Twitter and he released the Twitter files. They are both public enemy number 1 and 2. Why, guys? It's not, some of it is about money, but they have had a lot of money. They've had a lot of money. They are not politicians. Trump is, I guess, technically now a politician.
Doesn't Trump own another, not Facebook,
Truth Social?
Oh, yes. Truth Social? Nah, no one cares. Truth Social's corny. It is. It's just not. It's just not. popping off. It's basically an echo chamber because only people like, especially because of how things are. I can dig like him trying to do that, but like it is kind of an echo chamber. And the only reason people go there is to see what he's saying. Everyone else goes. Well, get this. He can. Twitter X is it's back now. So we really don't really. But not. It's not even just. But even before then, he was already Donald Trump. He's always been Donald Trump. Elon Musk became Elon Musk. They do not need the establishment's money. They don't care for the establishment's power. They cannot be bought or bargained with. And that is why they are a threat to the establishment. Something I found out recently is, and Trump, he admitted, he was like, I didn't necessarily think I was going to win the first time. I did not know really what I was doing. Right?
Exactly.
And something that I found out is they appoint a team to you, government funded. And we remember a lot of people on his team, they jumped ship. They were endorsing Kamala Harris. They were saying like, oh, we don't oh wait 1 second. Let me remove that. Yeah, we don't like him. He got rid of a lot of them. And when you hear the narrative in the news, it's like, oh well, it's because he was out of control. He was crazy. These are people that were fired by him, guys. Now, that doesn't mean that they're wrong, right? But that's number one. They were people that were fired by him. So there could be animosity there. That's number one. Number two, this was a government-funded, these were government-funded appointed advisors and people, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And he said that they're usually given to you the day after. You swear in.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, he's already assembled his team. He did it several months in advance to the election. And not only did he do it several months in advance to the election, but he paid for it himself. Now, one could say like, oh, that's a conflict of interest. But why is it? Why would they be so worried about it? Why do they care that Trump wants to, I don't know if peace is the word, but come to negotiations with our adversaries in the world? Why does he want to basically kind of retreat into our own bubble for a little while to regroup?
I think it has to do a little bit.
It's almost.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Go.
I apologize for cutting you off. But I think it has to do with American policy going forward since World War II. I know this sounds crazy, but hear me out on this. If you remember, prior to World War II, the British Prime Minister was Neville Chamberlain. That kind of did a kind of a policy of appeasement when it came to Hitler. Okay, we'll give you. I believe he invaded Czech. I think it was Czechoslovakia. I can't say it.
Czechoslovakia.
Yes, thank you. I think he invaded that first, and Neville Chamberlain said, "Okay, we'll let you have that, but you can't invade Poland." And Hitler said, "Okay." They agreed. Peace. Good old Neville. And then all of a sudden, Hitler invades Poland. So you have the same thing. You have the same thing in our mentality when it comes to Putin. They don't believe he's going to stop at Ukraine. They think that he's going to try to rebuild the old Eastern Bloc.
Would the Ukraine thing? Would that have ever happened if? Which I've heard that come out too. Like it wouldn't have happened. So like Trump did things. Like when I asked, it was kind of a rhetorical question when I asked, like, why Trump wants to do these things? Why does the government why don't they? It seems like the things that he says they don't want him to do. Why wouldn't they want him to do it? Money, guys. They want to maintain money and control. And this is in different ways. It's not that I don't know if there's some big master plan, New World Order, stuff like that.
That's Republican or Democrat. That's the Republican and Democrat.
Yeah, this is the whole establishment, guys. And Trump is a threat to that. People like Trump and Elon Musk are a threat to that. And the reason why they're a threat to it is because they want to do things that are contrary to those plans, and they cannot be bought or reasoned with because they do not need them.
Right.
This goes financially, this goes just mentally. They do not need the establishment. They don't need them. So that is threatening. That is why there's so much animosity towards Trump. And a lot of people have bought into, because again, the news it's propaganda. That is all it is. Yeah. That's all. And a lot of regular people get this. Let me pull it up again. The overwhelming majority, gang, feels this way. People who are not even registered Republican. This is not about party anymore.
No.
Well, in some degree it is, because obviously the Democrat Party has left and lost a lot of people. Why is that? Aren't they the party of unity, the party of peace? Aren't they the ones that, why Trump? He's a fascist. He's a racist.
He's a dictator.
Maybe people don't care. And I know how this sounds, but like, even if like the terrible thing they're saying is true, like if he, again, what is he doing? What happened? Because they were saying that he was going to be a dictator and do all these things before. And what happened? None of it happened.
Nope.
They shit on him for 4 years. They've been shit on him for almost 10 years now. And everyone loved him before. The celebrities, everyone, no one had a problem with Donald Trump until he started to run for president.
Exactly.
And now you see all the people that are supporting, again, the Democrats are for the working class. They're for the regular Joe. But all I see are billionaires and millionaires telling me that I'm ignorant and stupid and that I should just get along with it. Because why? Because she's a woman? Because she's a black woman? When Obama got up there and said, like, basically, like, you niggas need to get in line, you can, please. That is insulting. The ads that the Democratic Party have been putting out are insulting. The bullshit interviews, it's insulting. It's insulting to our intelligence. Our heads don't screw on and off. We got the internet now, baby. People are talking. You can try to scrub it and buy as many billionaire nerds as you want. The lie's too big now. So even if Trump, he's vulgar. He is literally, South Park was right. He's a giant douche. He is.
He is.
And people picked a giant douche over your candidate. You picked a weak candidate. That's number one. But honestly, the plan was always going to be the same. So even if you didn't get this, if you chose someone else, you probably would have got a few people that you lost. Actually, the majority of people that you lost. Because Biden won last time.
It was a lot
Trump
of
thinks the
Democrats.
election was stolen. I do not think that it was. I think there was some funny business with the mail-in ballots, but I think Biden, in the best way that Americans can, won fair and square, right? And get this, he went there like, he called again the J6, January 6th. I don't care, guys. Each time I look into it, again, people keep saying, January 6th is the worst thing that happened since 9/11, Pearl Harbor. I'm sorry, it wasn't. It wasn't that serious. It is very serious. But Pearl Harbor, 9/11. Are you insane? And the more I think about it, I think they were counting on something much worse to happen. Why did Pelosi deny the National Guard? Why did she have a documentary film crew already there with her on that day? Why were police letting people in?
Bro,
answer the questions.
You're on the queue.
It was all a witch hunt because they were trying to activate that magic amendment so they could be like, he was trying to overthrow the government. When he wasn't. Here's what I think they were counting on. I think they were counting on it getting so crazy that elected officials would be unalived. And then they would have them. But that didn't happen. But that's all they got. They got, close enough. We got an insurrection. Close enough. It wasn't an insurrection. He did not promote the overthrow of the government by force. He did not. Flat out, he did not.
No, he did not. You can
say dog whistles, all this other stuff. If that's the case, then the Democratic Party has been using dog whistles for almost 10 years now. He's a Nazi. He's a threat to our democracy. He's had 3 open and public attempts on his life. These guys don't get it.
Said that any better.
He's had 3 open attempts on his life. It's fear mongering. You see all those broads crying, overreacting. They're scared. Why are they scared? Why are they acting that way? Because of things you said, media. Because of things you're saying. Our leaders. Again, Biden called his supporters garbage. You look at this chart right here. They're garbage. And I don't want to hear that. And get this, they also broke the law because everything the president ever says is documented, right?
Exactly.
Every single word. They changed it. That is illegal. But no one's talking about it. DOJ cares so much about justice, right? You going to check that, right? They're not going to. This is a witch hunt. So even if Trump did all the things, all the terrible things that they're saying he did, because we know, and it's very apparent that they're doing it for politically motivated reasons, no one cares. Why is a fascist in the White House? Why is a racist in the White House? If he's all these things, the reason why he's there and the reason why people still picked him, the overwhelming majority still picked him, is because of the things you have said. We don't care anymore because things are worse now. We had a racist fascist in the White House before, and things were better. Is he these things?
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
For some people, he might be, but I think it came down to this. You know, when you're talking, I think all of us here, I think it's safe to say we're all the average everyday American.
Yeah.
I'm not a millionaire or a billionaire. Spro, I don't think you're a millionaire or a billionaire.
I'm not even rich.
There you go.
Not at all.
So none of us are rich. So you'll understand when I'm saying when we go to the grocery store, I don't know about y'all, but I like
our pennies.
Yes, ma'am. I'm pretty sure you're clipping coupons. You see
Everything I
that?
can get.
Oh, I take my father with me every first of the month.
Eggs are almost $7.
Oh man, eggs. Man, you like that Tropicana orange juice? It costs $10 a gallon now. I remember when that.
Gosh.
Yes, ma'am. I remember.
I have been 30 years ago. This economy was a lot different 30 years ago. The last 30 years has gotten worse to worse to worse to downright not good.
Yeah. And I think the average American sees that. Well, I think it was a combination.
There's Democrats that went from being a Democrat to voting for a Republican. There's so many of those that voted in this election that were Democrats that went to Republican that voted.
I even think that some of these people openly said that they were supporting Harris. Some of them may even have had those Harris signs on their lawn, but they secretly voted for Trump because it's gotten to that place now where you can't. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot more comfortable now to be like, I voted for Trump. Because now it's the majority. Now, like, again, I remember, I think Andrew Schultz said after he did the Trump thing, he had a show got canceled. And he was like, ever since I did that show, I'm walking down the street and people are like looking at me. And he was like, it's the kind of look you give, like, like when you're buying drugs and like,
Exactly.
like, oh, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like that now. And like, I keep finding out, like, just in my day to day. And again, I'm not bringing up the conversation all the time, but I'm finding out people who I never would have expected. They're secret Trump supporters.
Okay.
Or some of them are
I'll
out loud and proud,
thing.
but like they're not who you would expect.
I'm a HUD related apartment complex. I'm in a HUD related. They take 30% of my income and pay my rent. Everyone in this apartment complex was downing. Only maybe a handful of people downed Trump. And I'm constantly questioning him, why are you doing this? Or why are you saying this? And they says, because this person said this, because that person said this, or he said this. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
It's because most people don't, and get this, I think that the establishment counts on people to not, because most people aren't going to like most people, people have it's not even that they're lazy or anything, or that they wouldn't.
No,
most people don't have time for that. They don't. They're going to work. They're doing other shit. They have families. Like a lot of people don't have time to like just be religiously on the internet and do things. But like in some cases, with a few things, a simple like again for me, it was just that CNN thing, the Charlottesville thing back in 2020 is when I saw like
I remember that
footage of that press conference, and that it exploded my brain because I remember when it was reported reported on, and I was like, "Yo, I'm sorry, Trump. That's wild." Now, again, I wasn't like a Trump supporter. I wouldn't say I'm a Trump supporter now. I just voted for Trump. That's it. I said earlier, Vance. That's a presidential cat, man.
I voted for
I can relate to him way more than I can relate to Trump. Trump's like a freak of nature.
Was much better when he was president than it is today.
That's why everyone voted for him.
Yes. And to think
that's why everyone get this guy. It's about money.
Much more if he was reelected. Our economy today would be much better if he got a second term. But it didn't happen that way because I shouldn't say this.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things that wouldn't have happened or maybe even would have happened.
Right.
Well, I do have to disagree with the both of you, and it's only because this is just my opinion, but I think that the issue with the inflation that we had was you had a supply chain issue. If we all remember 2020, COVID, basically the U.S. shut down, okay? They weren't unloading ships, so you had boats stuck out to sea. You had part shortages. People, unless you were an essential worker, i.e. working at a grocery store or in a restaurant, you weren't making parts. So you had supply. Basically, it was a supply shortage that caused the inflation combination of also the government giving out free money. Now, both Trump, you got to remember, it actually started under Trump with the stimmy checks, the triple P loans. Biden did continue that under his watch. So I believe it was a combination of both. I do believe that had Trump had gotten reelected, we would have been facing this high inflation anyway. The only difference is we would have been blaming Trump for it had he had gotten elected and reelected in 2020.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, if it's supply side,
they're blaming Trump for it now. Yeah.
I mean, but again, if it's a supply, remember, if you have supply shortages, that causes prices to go up. Also, the government is throwing out money like candy, free money.
Well, where's that money coming from? Where is that money coming from?
Well, they printed it.
It's coming. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's coming from the Social Security, the Social Security where you pay into Social Security, Medicare.
I see that. That makes
so
sense.
on.
Well, to be honest with you,
COVID screwed
and
up
if it was
everything for a lot of
if
people,
it was
but I think
called
blaming it on
retirement
Trump
fund,
doesn't help.
if it was called a retirement fund, the government could not touch that money.
Well, technically, it is a retirement fund, but you are right that presidents, I think every president has touched
since the late 80s. Then
even before then, ever since its inception, when Roosevelt created Social Security, every president has tapped into Social Security anytime they needed to pay for something. They always borrowed from Social Security because it's a huge moneymaker,
Right.
And they evolved.
So more 30 years ago, starting 30 years ago, they start depending on the Social Security income.
Well, even before that, Reagan, he rated Social Security like you wouldn't believe. I believe Nixon did too. Because you got to remember,
he was a Democrat, though, right?
No, he was a Republican.
Nixon. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah. He defeated. I think it was Humphreys in '68, and then he defeated the guy from Minnesota. I forget his name. Man, I forget the guy's name, but he defeated him.
And that's another thing, I think, because of the classic kind of caricature of Democrat and Republican that we've had for, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
However long it's been, probably longer. That's another reason, like, people are like, oh, well, Trump's a Republican. That's the bag, like the working class, the regular Joes, the marginalized groups of people. They're like, oh, well, the Republicans are the stuffy rich guys and the elite.
Yes.
I think that's changed. in a way. It is very apparent, and that's what I'm saying. Like the Democrats are very brain dead if they do not see that. It's like it's college educated people, and again, it doesn't mean college educated people are bad, but like it's the elite, the social and intellectual elite who are in favor of this. And it's so apparent. Like again, I keep seeing on CNN and stuff, they're like, oh, well, you know, Kamala had a flawless campaign and stuff. They're saying that now, and it's like, no,
she was flawed.
Look at the screen.
I'll be honest with you. I thought
it's her. It's the people around her. She doesn't have original ideas. It doesn't seem like, at least I don't know any original ideas. I don't know how many of those things were her ideas or anything like that.
I'm absolutely on board with that.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. That she had no. It was like she was just using political talking points. You know, it was almost like copy and paste. You know.
Yes. For Christ's sake, she didn't even know we went to the border.
Yeah,
and again, a lot of those things, I expect them all to lie to some degree. So, like, it depends. Like, it's like you got to be able to be like, she wasn't even a good finesser.
Media,
you know, say what you will about Hillary.
Say what you will about Hillary.
Like, I think things like the internet. Oh yeah, say what you will about Hillary, but you know she was a battle axe, man. I mean, she was like a tough cookie. She's like one of the most evil politicians that have ever done it. But
very evil.
I could see people getting behind her. I could see people getting behind an Obama. Obama was suave, good speaker. Clinton, Bill Clinton, like people. I could see
where did Joe Biden
why
come
people
from?
like them.
He came from the Obama administration.
Yeah, but now you mentioned some interesting names, bro.
Helped him the majority, and he wasn't Trump.
Yeah, but you mentioned some interesting names. You mentioned Clinton and Obama. All right, I mean, what did they have in common? They were able to talk to the average American, those were Democrats that could talk to the average blue collar, everyday Americans,
blue collar and below.
And then if anyone remembers Bill Clinton when he ran, he also talked to he got the soccer moms to vote.
Yes.
You know, he got them out to the polls.
Don't you know, because Hillary was behind him. Hillary was making all the decisions.
Yeah, I think they were good finessers. Like and again, it's like some people will say like, oh well, you know, the politicians are liars. You got to be a good finesser. Like again, I expect you to give me some bullshit. Same with Trump. I expect you to give me some bullshit. That's fine. Hey, we've been doing it this long. You got to be a good salesman, man. Like whether or not you're gonna do. Most of them aren't gonna. Trump's not gonna probably do half the shit that he said he's gonna do. He'll do some. I think some stuff will get fixed.
But that's the thing, though.
It's like she wasn't a good bullshitter.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. You mentioned Trump now, and Trump did the same exact thing Clinton and Obama did. He talked to you remember in 2016 when Carrier announced they were going to close that factory in, I think it was Ohio, and move down to Mexico. I think Ford said the same exact thing. They were going to close a plant. And the first thing Trump did, got on a plane, went to Ohio, the same town. I forget what town it was, but went to the same damn town where they were closing these plants and talked to the people. And he said, under me, this isn't going to happen. You know, it happened anyway. But the thing was, he at least talked to the people. That's the thing, is that he communicated with the common man. Same thing Obama did, same thing Clinton did, or Bill Clinton did, not Hillary.
He sold it.
Yes, he sold.
Harris went out of her way to not, and I think now get this. I think the Democrats still had a problem. Like even if Joe Biden was like, I think it wouldn't have looked like this if it was Joe Biden, even with his brain melted and everything, which again is shocking. But I think it's picking Harris as the candidate showed even more so like how little they think of us and how easy they thought it would be, which is why they amped up the anti-Trump rhetoric. That's why they amped up, like the ads were so detached from reality and from the people they were trying to reach, especially the ads targeting like young men. I could not
agree even more.
I'm a young man.
But this is my opinion.
They were
that
awful, and it's like, and then they doubled down by shaming people for not giving into the ads, into the propaganda. And it's like you're just not getting it.
I think they were trying to target I think they felt if that they could rile up women. I don't know if you remember. You remember when they did the 1 million white women on a Zoom call or something? Yeah, that's what their plan was to rile up the women vote after Roe v. Wade got overturned. Rock women and we're gonna win.
Which again,
no
Roe v. Wade thing, like it didn't work. The Roe v. Wade thing, which guys, I hate, like, especially with something like abortion. It's so, and I also noted like they called it Trump abortion bans. Now, yes, he did appoint the judges, and that was something that was on the docket to eventually be reviewed.
Yeah,
but and whether you're, first off, guys, Trump has said multiple times, just to get this out in the open now. For those who don't know, he has stated multiple times that there will be exceptions for rape and incest. It is just down to a state level, which in most cases, that's how things are supposed to work in our country. With the United States. So
I do
each
remember
spot,
that.
as long as it doesn't contradict the overall Constitution, have the right to go about what they do. Get this. You want abortion in your state? Vote. All right.
Well,
if you, and Trump even said, like, oh, again, in the event of rape and incest, you can get the procedure done, and we're going to put a time limit cap on it. Because of the way that it was, we have had several states where you have late term abortions. That's what they're trying to prevent. The only way to, one, and also a lot of people don't like it, we have to share this land with other people, guys. So like, if we're pro-choice and someone else is pro-life, they don't like abortion. Maybe we would be in favor of it, with some exceptions. You got to have a compromise. And the way it's worded is like, oh, it's women's bodily autonomy. I am sorry, but that is just, I think that is a gross misinterpretation of what we're talking about and what is trying to be prevented and made sure that happens. Again, I've been told that I'm not allowed to talk about abortion because I'm a man and all this other stuff, but I think that is some of the propaganda like rhetoric that we're being fed. Like, even the way it's worded, it's like it goes from being abortion to women's health care. I think that's a gross misuse of the term. Again, I'm not shaming anyone for wanting an abortion or anything like that.
Well, I mean, the only issue is you got to remember before Roe v. Wade, you had the problem of you had women going out and getting abortion, when abortion was illegal. I mean, they were going like back alleys, things of that nature, and some women were actually dying from it. Dying from because these procedures, they had to go to people that were doing abortions in secret. So naturally they couldn't have quality health care.
Exactly.
And so that was so that was a big issue. Now, I'm not an advocate for abortion, but at the same time, I don't believe that we should be policing, like Texas, for example. Spro, you had mentioned exceptions for grape and incest, but Texas has no exceptions whatsoever. Texas put no exception to that,
which is
rule.
why. So Trump apparently has promised that that's something that he's going to try to put in place, and I can dig that. And I know how this may sound because not a lot of people can. There's also even with how it is now, there's nothing that prevents you from going somewhere else to get it done. Now, something that I think
actually in Texas, that's not true.
Live in a state where I was just about to say, so like if you live somewhere where, let's say, you can go somewhere else and get it done, but you'll still get in trouble because you live in that state, that's something that needs to be discussed. We need to get rid of that. Like, and there needs to be compromise on it. And Republicans need to understand you're never going to win the abortion argument. You're not going to get rid of it completely. And then people who are in favor of abortion need to realize that, like, there will be limitations and there have to be rules with it. because we live in a democratic republic, there has to be compromises with all kinds of things. That's just
Absolutely
how it is. It is not about trying to take away people's rights, but it's about securing, again, a lot of the Democrat positions and things that are promised or things that they say that are going to be done are things that will give you satisfaction right now without thinking about tomorrow. You need to think about tomorrow and where it could lead. Certain things are done in order to prevent things from getting out of control or worse, because the end possibilities of tomorrow could outweigh the maybe uncomfortableness of today. That is why these things are being done. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. And just because, and get this, there's a lot of people who voted for Trump who, don't like that Roe v. Wade was overturned. And yet still, again, look at the numbers. Certain things took priority, and the Dems were so reliant on, they were like, oh, that's gonna win it for us. Your priorities were out of order. And then again, real quick, because I do want to wrap it up soon, but the migrant thing, there have to be regulations on it, guys. And I think wording it like, oh, it's because Trump's so racist and blah, blah, blah. And then the mass deportations. I know people that have told me straight up that they believe that Donald Trump is going to deport like second, third generation. Basically, if you're not a white American, you got to get the fuck out.
No.
That is impossible. Guys, it would never happen. It would never happen. You can't, he wouldn't be allowed to do that. And the fact that you are not informing yourself enough to realize that that's just not feasible, even if he wanted to do that. Even he hasn't said that he wants to do it. That's the thing. He hasn't said he wants to do it. I got people telling me like, oh, as a black man, Trump's gonna have the cops stop you. The Project 2025 thing, he has said so many times ad nauseum that is not on the agenda. It's not. I want to get some final thoughts from you guys, because it is getting late where I am. But I did want to come up here and make sure that I addressed it. I did the
American thing.
Not even the American thing, but I've done a few videos and streams on just the election coverage, stuff like that, and I thought it would be a disservice to not address it in some way. I was going to do a video, but I might just chop this up. But final thoughts. Gracie, you can go first, and then Darnell.
Bro, I respect you in everything that you've mentioned, everything that you talk about. And this is why I turned to your channel. And the reason why I wanted to come up is because I believe everything that you're saying is to be the truth. And honestly, I have not heard anybody speak as well as you have done tonight.
You need to get out more. Thank you, though.
Thank you.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Darnell. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Spro. It's great to see you back. I hadn't seen you in a while, but great to see you back.
I stopped drinking.
Hey, so did I. I'm actually drinking zero alcohol. This is zero alcohol beer. So, yeah, I
started drinking zero alcohol beer too.
I went to rehab myself earlier this year. So
good for you.
Thank you. But yeah, that being said, with I brought that up. Is like I don't like alcohol, right? We were talking about abortion. I don't like alcohol, but we all know prohibition just doesn't work. And I would have to say the same thing with getting rid of, banning abortion, or having laws such as Texas, where literally they're trying to police people outside of the state. I think that's going a bit too far. But just because I don't like something doesn't mean you should make it illegal. Like I said, I wish I wish tobacco was illegal. I really do. You know, especially that's one addiction that I'm struggling to cut. But just full disclosure, I just wanted to full disclosure. I'm a registered independent. I did vote for Kamala Harris myself, even though I knew Trump was going to win. You know, I just did so
that earlier. We could have.
I mean, if you want to, if you want a couple minutes, I got a couple minutes. If you want to extend a couple minutes
No,
here,
I do have to go, but I appreciate because a lot of people more not on YouTube so much, but elsewhere, it's been a little bit of a. Yeah. So I appreciate you coming up here and rapping with us and critically thinking.
Really
and guys, again, no matter who you voted for, thank you. I appreciate it. But I'm pull you guys down real quick, give some final thoughts. Thanks for coming up. Peace out. But kids, stay woke. And honestly, that's a good little tidbit. I like that. Like Darnell was just like, oh yeah, I mean, I voted for Harris, but you know, a spade's a spade. So like I appreciate that, which again, guys, so that what does that tell you? What does that tell you? I think it's gonna be a rough few months. It's gonna be a rough 4 years. Let's see if Trump can put his money where his mouth is, and let's also see if the Democratic Party can put the money where their mouth is, because they threw a lot of criticisms Trump's way. They threw a lot of things his way in regards to all this, and they claim that he's this and he's that, but they're not like that. So let's see how that goes. Yeah. Until next time.